Hello there everyone. So I've had a lot of requests to go through the higher paper from this year. So for no particular reason, I'm starting with paper 2. Let's see how we got on. So the diagram shows a circle, centre, row and 3 straight lines. Use one word to describe each shaded region. Well, A is a segment. I remember that by remember that it looks like a segment of Terry's chocolate orange. And B is a sector, or if you're American, sector. The mass of an iceberg is 2,200,000 kilograms. The value is a 12% reduction from the original mass of the iceberg. Work out the original mass of the iceberg. Give your answer in standard form. So, if it's a 12% reduction, we've got 88% of this iceberg left, which must be equal to our 2,200,000 kilograms. So I'm going to use the unitary method here. So if I divide by 88, that'll give me 1%. So 2,200,000 divided by 88. So 1% is 25,000. So 100%. So there to there, times by 100. So times my answer by 100, 2,500,000 kilograms. Give your answer in standard form. Well, this would be 2.5 times 10 to the power of, right, we're pretending the decimals there, aren't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2.5 times 10 to the 6. The chef has a tub of blueberries. So this was in the foundation paper as well, wasn't it? She wants to use all of the blueberries, put the same number of blueberries on each dessert. So D equals K over B. D is the number of desserts, B is the number of blueberries on each dessert. What does the K represent? So does that make sense? If we have the number of blueberries in the tub divided by the number of desserts, that would give me the number of blueberries on each dessert. That'll give me the number of each dessert. So the number of blueberries in a tub. Complete the table. Right, well, if K over B gives me D, then D times B must give me K. So I'm going to times these two together to get 240. So that is my value of K. So 240 divided by 6 gives me 40, and then 240 divided by something to get 30. Let's do 240 divided by 30 to find out what that is. That would be 8. Right, a fair spinner has 6 equal sections, each with a number 5, 6, 7 or 8. Each number appears at least once, and the probability of an even number is the same as the probability of a 7. Work out P of 5. So if each one appears once, let's just put those in. 5, 6, 7, 8. So each number appears at least once. P of an even number is the same as P of 7. So I've got 2 even numbers. So I'm going to need another 7 in there. Can't add another 7 or an even number, so that has to be a 5. So P of 5 is 2 out of 6, which is equivalent to a third. A different spinner has 10 sections, each labelled A, B, C or D. Give one reason why there must be a mistake in the table. Right, well, I expect these to add up to 1, so let's see. 0.1 add 0.5. Oh, steady. 0.1 add 0.5. 0.2 add 0.3. 1.1 should add to 1. Probabilities always add to 1. Right, here's a sketch of the graph y equals minus 2x plus 6. Complete the coordinates of C and D. So at C, x is 0. So that must be our intercept of 6. So that would be 0, 6. And then here, we know that y is 0. So subbing into there, let's say that 0 equals minus 2x plus 6. We'll solve this, so I'll add 2x to both sides. So x must equal 3. Here's a sketch of a quadratic graph. Complete the following statements. The value of the y-intercept, so the value, not the coordinate, the value of the y-intercept is 5. That's where we're going through our y line here. The x-coordinate of the turning point T is, so that's my turning point. I've got a spread of 10 here from -2 to 8. So I think that must be 5 in from either side. So I think that must be 3. Because add 5 would get me to there. And add 5 would get me to there. So I'm saying that that's 3. Work out 2.5 times 10 to the power of 4 all to the power of -3. Give your answer in standard form. Oh, this is a calculator paper. Let's use my calculator. So, bit of an older style calculator here, guys. Apologies if this isn't how yours looks. So 2.5 times 10 to the power of 4, all inside brackets. And then on the outside of my bracket, I want the power of -3. 6.4 times 10 to the -14. So 6.4 times 10 to the -14 there. Right, question 7. Archie flips a biased coin 200 times. Here is some information about the outcomes after each of the 50 flips. Work out the best estimate for the probability of flipping a head. Give a reason for your answer. Right, well, I'm going to say that must be the best because it's had the most trials, so it's going to be more accurate. So reason would be, so answer 52 out of 100, which is the same. Sorry, not out of 100, out of 200. 52 out of 200 there, which would be the same as 26 out of 100 or 13 out of 50. Reason, more trials is more accurate. Question 8. A lion is sprinting in a straight line away from its den. The graph shows the lion's distance from the den. Work out the speed of the lion. So we should know that speed is equal to distance divided by time. So what distance is my lion travelling? So I think he's starting at 30 metres from his den and he's finishing at 120 metres from his den. So 120 minus 30 gets me a difference of 90. And the time it takes him is 5 seconds. I'm saying him, I don't know whether it's a male or female lion, I've got no idea. 90 divided by 5, 18 metres per second. On the Venn diagram, shade the region represented by P and Q. I always read that as an N because it helps me to remember it's and. So P and Q, everything that's P and everything that's Q. But it has to be both, doesn't it? It is P and it is Q. A bus route had 90,000 passengers last year. The number of passengers was predicted to increase by 3% this year and then by 8% next year. Is the predicted number of passengers for next year more than 100,000? Must show your working. So I'm going to do the amount of passengers I've got, 90,000, times a percentage multiplier for a 3% increase, so that's 1.03, times a percentage multiplier for an 8% increase, so that's 1.08. I'm just going to bang this in my calculator. Am I really getting 3 marks for this? 90,000 times 1.03 times 1.08. Yes, it is going to be more than the amount that they have said. Right, a map has a scale of 1 to 20,000. 2 churches are 15 centimetres apart on the map. Work out the actual distance between them. So, from there to there, I times by 20,000. So I'm going to start off with my 15 centimetres that it is in real life and times that by the 20,000 I need to give it into a real life. So 15 times 20,000 equals 300,000. Do just take time and care with your zeros here, guys. It's a really easy spot to make a mistake from moving too quick. But that is in centimetres. So if I start out with that in centimetres, I can change that to metres by getting rid of 2 zeros, can't I? So that would be 3,000 metres. And then I can change that into kilometres because there's 1,000 metres in a kilometre. So that would be 3 kilometres. Circle the reason why these triangles are congruent. So why are they the same? What's telling me these triangles are the same? Got 3 sides the same, haven't they? 9, 12, 17, side, side, side. Liam takes part in long jump competitions. Already I can see from the table I've got here. I'm going to be looking for an average from a frequency table. Work out an estimate of the mean distance of these 40 jumps. Right. So we don't know how far he went. Was it 7 metres? Was it 7.4? I'm going to say it was 7.2. Was it 7.4? Was it 7.8? I'm going to say it was 7.6. Was it 7.8? Was it 8.2? I'm going to say they were 8. I'm going to multiply these across. So 15 times 7.2, 108. 18 times 7.6, 1,300, 136.8. Just going to go back and double check that I wrote the second one correctly because I almost missed the decimal on there. We need to be careful with things like that. Yeah, it's the last one. 7 times 8, 56. So then I want the total here. 108. It's 136.8 plus 56, which would be 300.8. And then I want to do that divided by that to get a mean. .52. Just have a look at the data. Does 7.52 make sense? Feels like it makes sense. Right, 14. A graph passes through the points 3, 15 and 7w. Assume the graph has the equation of the form y equals x squared plus c. Work out the value of w that this would give. Right, so we are saying that y equals x squared plus c. And I've got one pair of coordinates here, haven't I? So that is going to be my x value and that is going to be my y value. So let's plug these in. So my y is 15, my x is 3, plus c. So 15 equals 9 plus c. C must equal 6. What am I? Yeah, 6. So we've figured out that the line of the equation, rather, of this line is y equals x squared plus 6. So now, if we put 7 in as our x value, y is equal to 7 squared plus 6. So 7 squared is 49, add on 6, 55. So we would expect w to be 55. In fact, the graph is a straight line. What does this mean about the actual value of w? Tick one box. Right, so actually I'm just going to work it out again. That's always the best thing to do here. So if it's a straight line, it'd be y equals mx plus c. We've still got our coordinate up here of 315. So 315, that's our x and that's our y. So 15 equals... Well, hang on, I don't know what my gradient is here. So I can't really go any further with that, can I? So I think it's impossible to tell. Right, question 15. Concrete from a truck is poured at 10.9 kilograms per second for 30 minutes. 1,000 kilograms is equal to a ton. Is more than 20 tons of concrete poured? Tick a box. All right, so I'll get that many kilograms per second for 30 minutes. So I've got 10.9 kilograms, and that's worth 1 second. So I'm just going to scale these up. So I'm going to go for 1 minute by timesing by 60. So my 10.9 times 60 gets me 654 kilograms in a minute. Then from a minute, let's just go to 30 minutes by timesing by 30. So times by 30, 19,620 kilograms. I know that there's 1,000 kilograms makes 1 ton. So 19,620 kilograms is equal to 19.62 tons. There goes my light for some unknown reason. We're back on. So it's 19.62 tons. Is more than 20 tons poured? No. Here is some information about the lengths in centimetres of leaves. So the shortest length of leaf is 2.4. So 2.4, I'm just going to draw these on as I go. It's going to ask me to draw a box and whisker or a box plot, isn't it? Yeah. So that's my shortest length. My longest length is 9. My upper quartile is 7. My median length is 6. Interquartile range is 3, so it's not telling me the lower quartile, but 7 take away 3 is 4, so my lower quartile is going to be at 4. And then it's just a case of drawing our box plot. There we go. Alright, AB is a straight line. Both angles are given in degrees. By working out the value of x, work out the ratio of the smaller angle to the longer angle. Okay, so two-part question. We're going to work out the angles first, then put them in a ratio. So, I know that these two should add to 180. So I'm going to say a quarter x plus 15 add 2/3 x minus 44 has got to be equal to 180 in this situation. So I've got some fractions to add, calculator paper though. So 1 quarter plus 2/3 gives me 11/12. So I've got 11/12 of x, and I've got 15 take away 44, which would be minus 29, is still equal to my 180 degrees. So I could solve this now, so doing the opposite. So add 29 to both sides will give me 11/12 of x is equal to 180 plus 29, lazy, 209. Alright, so this feels a bit tricky now. I've got 11/12 of x. So I can get 1/12 by dividing by 11. And 12/12 or 1 by timesing by 12 for 228. So that's saying that x is 228. So let's substitute this back in up here to find out my angles. So a quarter of 228, add 15, gets me 72 for this angle. So I'm expecting that to be 108. I am going to check it because that's a good way of making sure I'm on track. So 2/3, so 2/3 of 228 minus 44 is 108, which is exactly what I wanted to see. So now I just need to make sure I finish this by putting them in a ratio of the smaller to the larger. So 72, 108, 72, 108. So I'd say 9s go in. So there's 8 9s in there, 12 9s in there. And then what have I got that goes in? Divide by 2 for 4 to 6. Divide by 2 again for 2 to 3. Right, the diagonal of a rectangle is 23.7. The diagonal makes an angle of 52 with a side length of x. Work out the length of x. Alright, so I'm going to draw a picture here to help me. So, diagonal of a rectangle. So let's draw a rectangle. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect. I'll ask you to just pretend that bit's not there. Diagonal. So my diagonal is 23.7. The diagonal makes an angle of 52 with a side length of x. Is it that one or is it that one? It doesn't matter, does it? It's ambiguous. So I'm going to say that this angle is 52, which would make that one x. So if you did do this paper, guys, I think that's a bit ambiguous, so don't worry if you put 52 there and your x there. I'd imagine the mark scheme's going to give it both ways. So I can start ignoring this now and think about my trigonometry. So here's my hypotenuse, here is my opposite, here's my adjacent. So some old hippie caught another hippie tripping on acid. I know my hypotenuse. I want to know my adjacent, so it's the cos triangle I'm going to be using. Because it is my adjacent that I want to find, these two things are next to each other, so I'm going to be timesing. So I'm going to do 23.7 times cos 52. 23.7, sorry I'm not sharing, times cos 52. For 14.59. Should have started writing it on a lower line. Does it ask me to round it to any degree of accuracy? No, that's to 1 decimal place, so I'm going to give mine to 2 decimal places, so 14.59. If it doesn't say on accuracy, I always try to just go one better than the examiner, just be 1 degree more accurate. Right, 19. Oh, here we go. This looks good. Show that that simplifies to an integer. Well, I've got brackets, so I'm going to expand them. So 4x times 3x is 12x squared. 4x times 2 is 8x. Minus 2x squared times 6 would be minus 12x squared. Minus 2x squared times minus 5 over x. I'll just times my top ones down, so that's going to be a negative times a negative is a positive. 10x squared over x. Minus x times 3, sorry, minus 6x times 3 is minus 18x, and minus 6x times 7 over x would be minus 42 over x. Cool, so let's see what we've got now. So that one and that one will cancel each other out, actually, won't they? They will. That x there and that x there will cancel each other out, so I've got 10x there, minus 18x. That doesn't look right. I've missed something there. Minus 6x times 3 is minus 42x, so they will cancel out. This is looking nice now. So my 8x plus my 10x there would be 18x. Take away 18x, minus 42. That will cancel each other out. So it leaves me with minus 42. Nice. Right, question 9b. Ooh, a nice one. So I'm factorising quadratics here, but I've got greater than 1x squared. So what I normally do here, isn't it, is I times my a and my c together. So I'm going to do 8 times minus 35 for minus 280. Now I want to find two factors of minus 280 that add up to make negative 18. So if you're ever not sure, it's worth just going through all the factors. That'll help you find the pair. I feel quite lucky today that I can see it's going to be minus 28 and 10. Minus 28 times 10 would be minus 280. Minus 28 add 10 would be minus 18. So I'm going to rewrite this, but with these instead of that. So x, 8x squared minus 28x plus 10x minus 35. Then I'm just going to factorise it both parts. So biggest thing in there and there is 4x, which would leave me 4 times 2x would give me 8x. 4 times minus 7 would give me minus 28x. And then for the second bracket, I like to make mine the same straight away and see if I can make it fit. So 5 times 2x would be 10x. 5 times minus 7 would be minus 35. So I'm in here. So it is 4x plus 5, 2x minus 7. If you were in the exam, I'd spend just a few seconds to draw that out in the grid method, expand it and make sure you come back to that. But I'm fairly certain that that's working fantastically there, guys. Right, 20. Oh, getting into it. Work out one set of possible values for D, E and F. So I've got some sort of quadratic over here. And this to me looks like the solution to a quadratic using the quadratic formula. So I'm going to multiply by that straight away to stop that from being my denominator. So I'm going to say here that x plus 3, x minus 9 is equal to 2 lots of 6 minus x squared. Yeah? So let's expand it on the left side. So on the left side, that would give me x squared minus 6x minus 27. And on the right, that's going to give me 12 minus 2x squared. So let's push everything across now so I can get this equal to 0. So if I take away 12, I'll change that to minus 39. And if I add 2x squared, I'll get 3x squared here, minus 6x equals 0. Cool, so I'm ready to solve. So I'm going to go for my quadratic formula, which is minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's a, that's b, that's c. So minus b is just going to be 6 plus or minus the square root of minus 6 squared. Doesn't matter because it's a negative. 6 times 6 and minus 6 times minus 6 are the same thing. Minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So let's just tidy this up a little bit now. So this is going to be the same as 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 squared is 36. Take away 4 times 3 times minus 39. So take away 4, 6, 8. Sorry, that's not very clear right there on the edge, isn't it? 4, 6, 8. So remember, two negatives here are going to make a positive. So I'm going to end up with 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 plus 4, 6, 8. 504 all over 6. Does that satisfy that at the top? D, E and F. Nice. Right, question 21. People in a stadium are in the north stand, east stand, south stand, or west stand. Of the people in the stadium, a quarter are in the north stand, 3/10 are in the east stand. The number in the south stand to the number in the west stand is 2 to 7. There are 4,480 people in the west stand. How many people are in the stadium? Right, so let's have a think about this. I'm going to draw this. It's going to help me think about it. North, east, south, west. Now, in the north, I've got a quarter of the people. in the east, I've got 3/10 of the people. And the number that is left in these two is 227. So, and I know that there's that many people in the West Stand. So there's 4,480 people in the West Stand, which is 2 to 7, with the 7 being for the West. And this is 2 to 7, with 2 being for the South. Right, I've got a quarter there and 3/10 there, so a quarter add 3/10 equals 11/20, so those two add up to 11/20. So what's left must be 9/20. 9/20 is the West and the South. Now I know that that's the West amount and that's 7 shares, so let's do 4480 divided by 7 equals, for 1 share times 2, so I know in the South Stand I've got 1,280. I now know that my 9/20ths are equal to these 20 together, so let's just add my 4480 to my 1280. 5,760, so that's 9/20ths, so 1/20th by dividing by 9. So the whole thing must be times by 20. So that's everybody. How many people are in the stadium? Oh, nice, that's it. 12,800. Right, 22. Use x equals 1 to work out an approximate solution to x equals 5 minus 1 over x. Give your answer to 4 significant figures. Right, so this is a calculated problem, isn't it? This is iteration. So it wants me to put 1 in there. So I'm just going to do 2 take away 1. So my calculator now knows that when I use the answer function, it's going to put 1 in. So 5 minus 1 divided by answer equals 4. So hopefully this is just going to become more and more accurate. And as soon as it stops moving, I'm going to write it down. So 4.79128878. 4 significant figures, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.791. Sorry, I didn't show you that there. Oh, vectors. Prove that DEF, so this one along the top, is a straight line. Right, so in order to do that, I'm going to need to find vector D to E and vector E to F and see if they're scalars of each other. So D to E is 6a plus b plus 2a minus 5b. 6a add 2a is 8a, b minus 5b is minus 4b. So that's my vector DE. So let's find out the vector EF. So E to F, coming backwards along this one, so everything's going to be flipped. So minus 2a plus 5b. And going forwards along here, so plus 4a minus 6b. Minus 2a plus 4a is 2a. 5b take away 6b is minus 1b. So they are scalars of each other, aren't they? So if I did that one times 4, it would give me that one. So I'm going to say that DE is a scalar of EF. So therefore these are parallel. And since they've got E as the same point and they're parallel, it must be the same line. Nice. Right, 24. The room is kept at a constant temperature of 21 degrees for 6 hours. The heating is then turned off and the room begins to cool. Here is a sketch graph showing the temperature of y degrees at the room time of x hours. Assume the equation of the curve part is y equals k over x, where k is a constant. Work out the value of y when x is 12. Right, so let's start off with what do we know? What do we know? We know that when y is 21, x is 6. So I can say that 21 equals k, which I don't know, over 6. So in order to find my k there, I'm going to times these together. So 21 times 6 gets me 126. So I'm saying that k is 126. So 126 divided by our new x value of 12 for 10.5. Right, in fact, the equation of the curve part is y equals a times a third to the power of a sixth x, where a is a different constant. How does this affect the value of y when x equals 12? You must show answer to support your work. Right, well, let's just go in with the same values, shall we? So reading off here, sorry, you can't see where I'm pointing. Going back to our same values over here where x was 6 and y is 21. I can say that if I write this out again, so following this but putting these in, 21 is equal to a times a third, which is to the power of a sixth, times by our x times 6. So a sixth to the power of 6 is 1. So this is just 21 equals a third a. So 21 times 3 is 63. So a must equal 63. How does this affect the value of y when x is 12? So I'm just going to put it back in here. We know that a is now 63. So 63 times 1 over 3 to the power of 1 over 6 times 12 equals 7. So before I got 10.5, this time I've got 7. So the value of y is less. We're there, guys. Last question. Here is a right-angled triangular prism. The ratio of the edges, A to B to C to D, is 3 to 4 to 5 to 12. The volume of the prism is 1,125 centimetres cubed. Work out the total length of all the edges in the prism. Right, this is a good one. So, I know that's my volume, so how can I write some algebra here? So, A times B divided by 2 times D, that's my volume for the, that's my formula, sorry, for the volume of the triangular prism. That must be equal to 1,125. I can't solve that, it's got too many variables. Right, well, I've got my A to B to C to D is 3 to 4 to 5 to 12. Can I rewrite this in terms of A? So I'm going to say that that's A. 4 is just an extra third, so that's going to be 4 thirds A. 5 would be 5 thirds A. And 12 would be 4A. So I've rewritten my ratio in forms of A, so now I'm going to try and use these in here. So A, which we're keeping as A, times B, which is now 4 thirds A, divided by 2 times D, which is now 4A, equals 1125. So let's just neaten this up a bit. So 4 thirds A times A is 4 thirds A squared over 2 times 4a. So tidy up again, that's going to be 2/3 a squared times 4a. Tidy up again, 2/3 times 4. What have I done with my calculator? 2 and 2/3 a cubed. Okay, 2 and 2/3 a cubed, and I'm saying that's equal to our volume up here of 1125. So I'm going to solve this. I'm going to divide through by 2 and 2/3. So 1125 divided by 2 and 2/3. That's not a very nice number. Hopefully this will work out. So a cubed is equal to 421 and 7/8. So if I cube root that, yes, it's much nicer. So a is equal to 7.5. Right, so back up to the top. I know that a is now worth 7.5. So a is 7.5. B is 5/3 of 7.5. Sorry, 4/3 of 7.5. So 4/3 times 7.5. So that gives me 10. So B is 10. C is 5/3. So 5/3. Oh, wrong button. 5/3 of 7.5, which is 12.5. And then my last one's just 4 lots of it. So 4 lots of my 7.5. 7.5 doubled would be 15. Double that. No, sorry, keep with this, idiot. So my A is 7.5, my B is 10, my C, which is 5/3, is 12.5, then my D, which is 4 lots of 7.5, so 4 times 7.5, which is 30. Ooh, steady, knock on. So now that I know that my A is that, my B is that, my C is that, my D is that, I just need to find the total length of all the edges. So I've got 2 A's. So 2 A's, 2 lots of 7.5 would be 15. I've got 2 B's. 2 lots of B, B's 10, so 2 lots of B would be 20. 2 C's. 2 lots of my C, 12.5 would be 25. And then my D's. Got to be careful there. 1, 2, 3 edges for my D's. So I've got 3 D's, so 3 lots of 30 would be 90. So that, just adding these together now, 15 plus 20 plus 25 plus 90 gives 150. Right, I hope that's helped, guys. If I've made any mistakes, please feel free to point them out. Thank you to everybody who's been commenting and watching. It really has been insane over the past 24 hours. Thanks, guys. I hope that helped.